What's up, guys and gals? This is Black Boss 91 coming to you with another Bleach commentary, chapter 566, and the title of the chapter is called What is Your Fear? Now, three things I want to point out in this chapter. First, the flashback with Rukia and Renji, her strategy skills. Then, second, Renji falling asleep in enemy's territory and Nana not being there. And then the third part is the face off between Rukia and Asnot. Now, in the beginning of the chapter, we get a flashback of Rukia and Renji, and they're talking about what to do before they come down to the Soul Society. And I think this is really good with Rukia. I like her strategy upon going down there because she's telling Renji pretty much, we can't really sense everybody. We're going straight into enemy territory. Let's hide, fight the people, fight whatever Quincy's that we see, and then after we hide, after we defeat them, hide. So it's kind of like a fight, go away, like hit or miss. Like you fight your enemy, then you hide, because since there's so many other people around, it'll kind of be hard just to defeat them. Even though, and she said it, even though like we've gained a newfound strength and we're much stronger than before, we're still outnumbered. So Rukia, her strategy on that part is pretty good because it's a war. Anything can happen. Don't leave any stone untouched. So go over all your bases. And for her telling Renji that, Renji's kind of like, what? He's not really thinking so much about that. He's just going straight forward. But he listens to her on that note because, come on now, it's not the same place that they are going into. One minute they leave Soul Society, next minute they come back. It's Vanderreach, like craziness. So the next part we see Renji, he ends up sleeping. Because that flashback ends off where you see Renji. He after his battle with Mask, he has like I think he had a robe on. He took off the robe or whatever. It didn't happen in this chapter, but he's just wearing his regular like kind of like Shinigami clothes, and he slept for the whole night. I mean, if you think about if you're in war, you have to get your rest. I would probably want something to eat, but there's a different state of mind. This is battle, and they could probably deal without eating anything anyways. But he ends up leaving, and we see a Quincy hiding behind a pillar saying, did he really just sleep for that long right in front of me? He didn't even notice that Asnot was there. Not Asnot, Nana. And something where Nana was saying like he's never observed an opponent for that long, so maybe he might have some analytical powers where he the longer he analyzes an opponent, the better chance he has of defeating that enemy because he knows so much about him. Not just by probably just looking at him, just his mannerisms, stuff like that. And it was kind of weird for me when I noticed. I'm like, wait a minute, he didn't know that the Quincy was right there. He didn't feel his presence. At first I thought it was that guy. I forgot his name. He oh, excuse me. Chapters, way more chapters ago. It's a guy he can move in between the shadows. I think maybe all the Quincy's have that ability, but no, I thought it was that guy. But it's the black guy with the. I think he doesn't have dress. He has like twists, whatever. So I'm wondering about why he can't sense him. I think maybe the Quincy's are fundamentally different from the Shinigami, so there's a little bit difference between analyzing or sensing Reishi to Ryatsu. Then we go to Rukia, and she is saying, because of the drop of Ryatsu in the air, she was able to sense Vice Captain, what's his name? His or her name? I forgot how you pronounce it, but she was able to sense one of the Vice Captains. There's been a lot of deaths, a lot of battles, so many of the energy dropped, and I guess she could somewhat pinpoint that energy of that captain. I believe that captain has, from what Rukia was saying, she was saying, it just explains how dire, in a dire situation that we're in. And you remember, a lot of the Shinigamis that fought in the war, when they lost or killed, a lot of their energy dropped tremendously. And to send such a small piece of Ryatsu, because I believe the person that she's mentioning, a vice captain, is not as powerful as maybe a more powerful elite captain, but to send at least one person, that's very serious. That means a lot of the Shinigamis are gone, dead, out of commission, whatever it may be. But and it shows like a little panel showing, I guess, that vice captain, and he is a he or she. I think she was healing Rose. And there was two beds when I read the chapter again. There was two beds. I think it was Rose and Kensei, but nonetheless, it goes back to Rukia, and she meets up with Asna, and I'm like, okay, this is nice. I thought Asna was gonna face off against Byakuya, but I guess this kind of came up. It happened. Now, in this, what happens between them is pretty much they begin to fight, and he does some kind of technique where it's like, it's almost like Bambita's move, where it's like these energy balls, like these reishi balls around, but it's they're like white, and then he throws them at Rukia, but she ends up dodging them, and they go through several buildings. So this energy is strong enough to create damage or puncture holes, and she ends up blocking a couple of few that comes to her, but then when it hits her ice, it turns into black ooze and hits her. Like a drop of it hits her, and she goes white, and he's imposing his fear on her. So I like that. I think that's interesting that he can kind of throw blasts at a person, and if you get hit, it might not also just do damage, but it probably also what you call it, turn black. Maybe with the buildings he didn't it wasn't holes, it was probably like just black ooze on the walls instead of holes, because I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, if it hit the ice, it would have made damage and destroyed the ice, but she was able to block it. It just went right through and turned to ooze. So, but she doesn't really fear anything, because afterwards he's thinking like, what do you fear? But she's saying, you know what, I think your fear might be someone that can't fear, someone that's incapable of it. So I like Asna's ability where it's just he can throw out fear at you. It's fear contained in this ball. Rukia seems like she's become much stronger. She's much more confident. There's a courage level with her. She might be able to defeat Asna. And what I was going to say before is that I think if Rukia doesn't defeat Asna, this would be the perfect time for Kubo to bring down Byakuya. Like right before Asna do the finishing blow or whatever, Byakuya steps in and fights Asna. But if that doesn't, that's what I would like to happen, in the next chapters, or the 2 or 3 chapters coming up. But if that does not happen, then Rukia, we're going to see how strong she's become. And this is her time to prove it. So that's pretty much my thoughts on the chapter. Not too much. Just, Renji sleeping, dozing off, which was kind of like odd for me. I didn't think, the characters would be sleeping in a time like this, but, that. Rukia is just her brilliance and her intelligence, and her facing off Asuna. I want to see what she's going to do with this, and, how strong has she's grown from before to now. So if you like this video, rate it, comment in the comment box below, and this is Black Boss 91 signing out.